All right, y'all. This your boy Moolah. This we got that fat podcast, and we're back with another one. We got to react to this last episode, season 3, Raising Kanan, episode 8. Let's get into it. Get right up in there, people. Let's see.
Nobody beat me. I do lose sometimes, though. Everybody does. But when I do, I hold it. I take it with me everywhere I go. I damn near love it.
When it comes to the streets, there is a delicate balance between fear and respect. Imagine where both fear and respect are two sides of the same coin. To survive in the street and drug game, you need both. But respect isn't just earned through brute force, although some do use fear and force to gain that respect. It's also earned through loyalty and actions. So they do go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Although I think we can take this one step further. I believe reputation
You can't have one without the other. Love and marriage.
is equally as important, whether it's someone making moves behind your back, cutting you out of deals, to challenging your authority. Your reputation needs to be protected at all costs. Now, underneath there's also another element, revenge. Sometimes it's not about money, paper, or territory. In the streets, settling scores isn't just personal, it's a driving force to assert that fear and respect, and keeping your reputation intact for those who dare challenge it. So in this video, the underlying theme will be fear, respect, reputation, and revenge. And as always, we're going to be running through a lot of parallels to power, Easter eggs, clues, and theories, which will be more than the usual. So make sure you stick with this video till the end, as we dissect all things Raising Kanan, Season 3, Episode 8.
Let's go.
Now, this episode starts with the older Kanan's narration conveying the message of self-doubt and negative self-perception, especially when the person is alone with their own thoughts, just like Rock. During this period, this is where your mind starts talking to you. Although the older Kanan's narration did acknowledge some people may actually have positive thoughts, but not him, not Rock, and at this moment in time, definitely not Uncle Lou. But the most intimidating and critical voice that we can sometimes hear is our very own, because self-criticism is the harshest and scariest. Now, as Rock was in her own thoughts, Lou was heard shouting his out aloud, thoughts which you probably don't want to be sharing with the world. He started pouring for all the fallen soldiers that he
All right, so okay. I don't like this part, so he's just gonna come on and he just outside screaming, "Hey, everybody! This what we do!" Really? Y'all can't write nothing better than that. Why would y'all let him go do what he did under the same influence of him messing up everything? What's the difference? Always gonna get better. He just mess some more stuff up, and y'all just sit up here and just let him just drink, do this, no accountability, whatever, y'all.
he's had to take care of or fallen because of their mistakes and actions. Now, Rock grabbed him and brought him inside because the last thing she needed was her neighbors or anybody else hearing Lou in this drunken state, especially with the task force breathing down their neck. She calls Marvin because Lou's a mess and a liability, although Marvin's answer is he needs a program, someone to talk to just like he did back in Season 2, because if he can turn his life around, so can Lou, which is where I have to kind of agree.
But if she the leader, why is she telling him to handle it when you can handle it? You the boss, you the leader, you the number one, big dog, all this. Yeah, all right, whatever.
And disagree. No doubt Marvin is a changed man, but Lou's problem is he
He
won't stop
cooking
talking about shit he
cookies,
shouldn't be talking about. And putting him
washing
in that
dishes.
environment may not be the best idea, but it is clear Marvin doesn't want to give up on his baby brother because you never give up on family.
Yo, we'll never give up on family.
Now, Rock soon turns the conversation over to business and tells Marvin Kanan is fucking with Ronnie, Snaps, and Pop. However, notice when Marvin questioned where she got the information from, she said it didn't matter, and that's because she had it from Duke.
Yeah, your daughter. But at the same time, you telling him this, but he trying to help the baby bro, and you trying to act like that's not your brother. This is crazy, y'all. He the big brother. He supposed to be saying what she's saying on that couch because he was the one in charge before she got in charge. Now, they ain't sure us the backstory, but I'm pretty sure Rock has some type of dealing into how she got her position of power over Marvin. I feel y'all see what she be doing. I feel she has some type of dealing in it, but it is what it is.
Previously mentioned in one of my breakdowns, Rock is one of the biggest hypocrites the Power Universe has ever seen. In season 1, she shut Marvin out because he kept making mistakes, with one of
Right.
them being how he pulled Kanan in the game and put him in danger. Well, now the shoe is on the other foot, and I think if Marvin were to ever find out Rock was getting information from Duke, I really don't think he'd be too happy. In terms of business, Marvin said that he's known that Kanan's been moving reefer for a while, and it's nothing to worry about. However, Rock was right. It was more than just reefer, because Snaps and Pop wouldn't get involved in small business ventures. Now on Lou, Rock says maybe it is her fault that Lou turned out the way he has. Chickens come home to roost, which is something I've said a lot when it comes to Rock. Chickens will come home to roost when all the secrets are revealed. Although in the short term, I do agree with their stance. She does what she has to do to survive. She takes the heat when she needs to, and she makes tough decisions and moves on. Whether those decisions are right or wrong, it is all a part of the game. Lou may not like who he's seeing right now in his self-reflection, but when she looks in the mirror, she knows who she is. With Marvin, he said he's actually liking his self-reflection because he has changed in recent times. Now, this is a very common theme that we have seen across the Power universe, where characters look in the mirror. It's one place where you can't hide from who you are, the choices that you've made or about to make, and the person that you've become or the person that you're becoming. Some may believe that they're legit businessmen, but the truth is always a bit more complex. The truth is always a lie. So just hold on to that thought, because I will be coming back around to a very interesting theory specifically for Marvin's character later on in this breakdown. Now, with Kanan and Ronnie, they were in a meeting with Snaps and Pop, where he rejected the offer of a drink, which is something I do think we should keep in mind. Watching how alcohol is having such a negative effect on Lou's life, he's probably thinking he's better off staying clear, with a clear mind, focused on building his empire. We also know he's not going to be turning into no Franklin Saint, although he did drink lean in OG Power. This is also where Snaps liken him to Defcon, because Defcon didn't drink, do drugs, or fuck with girls.
All right. And that's not his daddy. But hey, they covered it up. Let's see how this goes.
With Rock being the only one Pop knew about, according to Snaps, Defcon was always said to have a clear mind and a level head. He was always formidable, and according to Ronnie, feared. And for Ronnie to say Defcon was feared, that is something coming from someone like Ronnie. Respected was another, which is where Snaps asked Kanan the question, would you rather be feared or respected? Now, here's where Kanan gave a very similar to answer how Tariq would answer a question in his canonical studies class. He said it was a trick question. If you fear someone, you respect them. They're the same. Fear is respect, respect is fear. So Kanan sees both fear and respect as the same. One can't exist without the other, and at some point, his name will be feared and respected on these streets, just like we learned Ghost's name was in OG Power.
Y tu reputación te persigue. La calle te teme, la calle te tiene miedo.
Now, after this meeting was over and done with, something I do think we need to talk about is Pop questioning whether Ronnie's ever had a real girlfriend. And Ronnie's response was, yeah, but not if he ever remembers their name. And I know a lot of people do think Ronnie could be into guys, even after seeing him with Juliana. So it...
Right, because he was acting mad weird, yo. But that's my thing. She says she don't want to be seen with him. But she gonna go over his house. She drove her car there. The Neek baby mama saw him. That's still Neek in their house. And Ronnie talking crazy to him. Get your stuff and go. What are you doing here? I said, get your stuff and go. Whatever. Weird.
So it is just something to keep in mind. Snaps and Pop know their shit on the streets. People come and tell.
And then Snaps and Pop, right? They're saying Snaps and Pop. You would think the girl named Snaps and the man named Pops. But it's reverse. Wonder why, people.
Them a lot of things because of who they are and what they've done. And I don't think it is a coincidence that the writers are making this point known. So again, it is just something to keep in mind. Now, here's where Snaps also warned Kanan his mother is competition and how she's good at this work. But Kanan's response was, so was he, which I think Snaps liked the sound of. Now, to round off on the night, we had Aisha and Jukebox getting a little close. Earlier in the season, they left a little clue that Aisha was kind of into Duke because she did question whether she was still with Nicole. And for Duke to open up to Aisha...
I want you to think this weird, like she got on all her street clothes and outside wear, jukebox, and the visitor look like she's at home. I'm just saying, y'all.
Sure about what happened in the past, although not the full truth around how she died. It really is a big step for someone like Duke, who hasn't openly spoken about this before. Opening up to Aisha also mirrors what her father Marvin's been doing in recent times, but it also means she trusts and cares about her, and I do think we are going to see this relationship blossom and turn into a bit of a romantic one. Now,
Oh,
the
you don't see
following
it
morning, we
coming?
see Joyce coming over to Rock's house to look after Lou, because Rock had to get to work, although Joyce wasn't here.
I just say Ray Charles would have said, just like this move right here. Out of all the people you could have had watch Lou, you gonna call your mama that's not good for nothing? Smart idea, right?
And here out the goodness of her heart. With Marvin, we saw him doing what Rock asked, keeping tabs on Kanan and finding out what he was getting into. He was watching him and Ronnie from afar, while he gave his careers his work. He then follows one as he goes to make a delivery, and takes him off his bike where he finds out they're the ones moving H in Queens. Now, while Marvin was digging into their competition, Rock was trying to resolve the issue around transportation. She came over to meet Terry, who runs this distribution company. Terry wanted the same deal Rock gave Hung, but Rock isn't someone who can be held for ransom. No matter what situation she finds herself in, she will never show any signs of weakness and show that she's desperate. She'll always project this powerful image, so her offer was her offer. Now, elsewhere, I do think Terry's brother David may become a problem later on down the line. Terry mentioned
They named Terry and David. Are we serious here? Is this for real? Okay, cool.
that he's a drug addict, and Rock's got enough liabilities to deal with when it comes to Lou. So speaking of Lou, back at Rock's house when Lou woke up, Joyce was kind enough to make her son some breakfast, although she did do as good of a job as Yasmin did in Power Book 2 Ghost when she burnt the bacon. Although mind you, Yasmin is just a little girl. But Lou already had enough. It was way too early for his mother's bullshit,
Make that
so he was
toast.
out. Even though
You better eat this toast, boy. It's homemade from your mama. Man, they made her give him this bogus plate and he got a hangover and she won't even eat the breakfast. Okay.
The Rock gave us specific instructions to keep Lou inside. He went back to the studio but was also back on the drink. Now Shelley did try and tell him that nothing is as bad as it seems, but for Lou, it was as bad as it could get because of what he's done and what he's been through.
If you watch YouTube videos for at least 1 hour a week, you could be owed up to $1,000 a week in passive digital residuals.
Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada.
Now, with Lou out in the wind at this moment in time, Famous was left in a bit of a limbo because Shelley said that he could be away for a while. But while he was away, she did give him permission to use the studio at the back of Cafe Vu, although he would have to help around at the club to pay for his studio time. Now, this can actually keep Famous busy and away from the streets, which is exactly what he needs in his position. He's got the studio at the back where he can do what he loves, while a job working with Shelley at Cafe Vu can keep him away from trouble on the streets. However, we all know it's never going to be that simple, especially for someone like Famous, and he will no doubt find himself at a crossroads soon. So let's see how they turn his story upside down and whether Lou could do the unthinkable. Later, he found himself out in the sticks where he shouldn't be. He came face to face with two guys that tried to rob him for his wallet and watch, but you can tell where he is at this moment in time with his life. He's ready to go. He told them if they're going to do it, then just do it, which even took them by surprise. So as of now, he has given up, just like it was said E-Train did in the past. Now, as Rock met with Quan, he wasn't impressed. One of his guys bought this from Queens, which was delivered by a courier. Rock had competition who was already up and running in her territory, and at this moment in time, she wasn't even aware that it was Kanan and Ronnie.
Say that. Cap. They made all this force fit. So he didn't want to help Neek expand when he was in charge. And Ronnie didn't want to wait. But he was asking for solutions. All of a sudden, when no solutions. But soon as Rock gets some type of position of back in the game power, oh, we got plenty of spots. We can expand this. But Buddy say, you're not moving it fast enough, but then we have an agreement that you got 2 months. And if it's too much for you, I'm not going to do business with you. But he wasn't talking like this with Neat. So this crazy, but off GP, right? They got Rock doing all this running around. And you know, your son messing with Ronnie. Why you just want to go deal with Ronnie off top, off GP? Just go deal with Ronnie. Period. But whatever. Let's check it out.
Juan said whoever was dealing in Queens had to be dealt with, as well as warning Rock that he's still yet to see her deliver on a promise. He gave her a few months to get her operation up and running, but she's still buying the same amount of product, which is because she hasn't been able to put the pieces in place around her transportation. Now, this was Shirley on the phone to Marvin telling him that Lou came around, but he's gone, and it didn't seem like he was in a good place. But Rock gets straight to business, which is where she found out this was Kanan. Kanan and Ronnie were her competition. Although they weren't her only problem, Lou left the house, went to the club, and is now nowhere to be seen. Now, this is where Marvin and Rock had a bit of a disagreement on what their next move should be. Rock wanted them to focus on how to get their operation up and running, because Quan was putting pressure on her to deliver on her promise. So she wanted Marvin to sort the transportation issue. However, Marvin said tracking down Lou should be the priority, because as we've mentioned before, he is the definition of family first. No matter how wild Lou was being, and how much of a liability he is, Lou needed them, which Marvin understood more than Rock, because he's been where Lou is at this moment in time, but Rock hasn't. As always, she's thinking about business and making that money, but at what cost? Look around her. She's alone in this big house which doesn't feel like much of a home. She's barely got a relationship with her mother. Lou hates her, and so does Kanan. And I'm just waiting for the day it is revealed that Rock might have been behind Marvin going to prison, because that really would be the moment where...
See, I said that they didn't show the backdrop of Marvin, right? But Marvin was the man, right? That's why I said when they was on the couch, Marvin supposed to be saying the speech. Look, right here, they on the couch. Marvin supposed to be saying what she's saying. So I said, I think she had ties and whatever had Marvin to go down to take position of power and never put it past her. Look what she did to her own son.
Where she loses Marvin as well,
Her
which
own
is only a
brother,
theory
too.
I've been through, but definitely plausible considering Rock's history, what she's done in the past, and what we've seen her do on screen. Now, with Jukebox, Aisha and Crystal, they're ready to give the performance of their life. Everything seems like it's falling into place for their first official gig, with Juke rightfully earning the place as lead role, which of course didn't go down well with Crystal. She was rightfully put in a place by Ankia. However, she was never going to play second fiddle to Juke. She was going to do whatever it took to take that lead role, which is something we're going to get to in just a moment. But first, she was here rubbing it in Aisha and Juke's face. Her and Kanan were now a thing, and Juke was ready to go for them if it wasn't for Aisha. She said, why does she need them when she's got her? Which goes back to these two getting closer as each episode passes by. Now, later with Juke, while she was catching her train, she was jumped by two girls who made it known they were here to stop her from getting to her rehearsals. Although Juke isn't someone who can be fucked with, 2-on-1 or not, we all knew Juke would be able to hold it down. And had it not been for them pulling out a knife, Juke would have been good, but she had no choice but to back down. Although she did make it to her rehearsals, but battered and bruised, which isn't a good look. But she did make it known to Crystal, her friends ain't shit, and neither is she. So if she wanted to take this lead role from Juke, she was gonna have to try harder. Now, just continuing with Juke's story in 308, she came over to Sergeant Healy's office and asked him why she wanted to back out from joining the military, but he said she signed a contract, and that means she made a commitment, and they take commitments very seriously. So it is going to be hard to undo this. So just like the street and drug game, getting out is a lot harder than getting in. With law enforcement, Detective Howard is a character who I said firmly remains on my investigation board, and this is why. After the dust settled around his daughter's death, Captain Beck has a lot of regret and guilt, so he now wants to get to the bottom of what she meant by Howard having secrets, and why she was so fixated on investigating her partner. Now, both he and Mr. Bingham have a lot in common. They're both fathers who find themselves on their own, with both trying to make sense of losing their daughters. So they sat and spoke about Nicole and Shannon, with Captain Beck echoing what Jukebox told Mr. Bingham in Season 2, Episode 10.
Captain Bert didn't do anything in Nicole and me.
Jukebox couldn't live with the guilt of someone else being blamed for Nicole's death, so she told Mr. Bingham Detective Beck had nothing to do with what happened to Nicole. However, bringing it back to 308, Mr. Bingham said when a detective came over, he said maybe Shannon may be complicit after all, and even though he didn't name drop Howard, Captain Beck